Flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to get into elemental magic and how to create a motherfucking ghost, goddammit. Ee-hee. Now look, check this out. This is Elemental Magic 101, which means this is going to be an ongoing series because it doesn't stop here. There's multitudes of things we get lost into as far as our mentalities. And for the most part, it turns into desires. And once we get lost into these desires, we end up not knowing how to separate our spirits from these lights. And once we think we are these things, then for the most part, we're on a road to damnation. But that's why I'm here to separate everything. And shout out to all my witches and wizards where y'all at in the motherfucking soul group. Because if you ain't into this motherfucking shit, you got no business to even being into it, mixing, mingling your goddamn energies into this goddamn shit. Because you ain't gonna do nothing but put blood on your motherfucking hands if you ain't doing right by this goddamn shit. So keep that in motherfucking mind. You think you got power and control over a certain energy, and see, don't that shit overwhelm your motherfucking ass to the point that don't nobody get destroyed but your ass. You see what I'm saying? So check this out. We're gonna talk about elemental magic, and we're gonna talk about how to create a goddamn ghost. Now here's the thing. You don't necessarily need to be creating no goddamn ghost unless you have truly been done wrong. It can't be no increment there of you adding on to any energies of the situation playing out the way it played out. If you added on to any percentage of the energy, even if you've been taken advantage of, you allowed yourself to get taken advantage of. So if you place more of that blame onto anybody else, then for the most part, do not be trying to create no goddamn ghost, because you're going to have blood on your goddamn hands. And then you don't even need to be creating no goddamn ghost in the goddamn first place to be attacking no motherfucking body. But here's the thing, right? Because we are in a low vibrational realm of reality where spirits do not know what they do. So this is something that everybody doing every second of the goddamn day. Goddamn it, we in a low vibrational hell as the guys rev. See, you see how I was just breaking it down to sound like some shit that is may sound spooky, like we shouldn't tap into it and we shouldn't play around with it. But at the end of the day, you see how I just broke it down like, motherfucker, this is some shit that we're doing every motherfucking goddamn day. And throughout the duration of this video, you're gonna understand why. So anytime you hear anything about some spookism or some pseudo shit or whatever like that, you need to know that the reason you don't believe it is because you indoctrinated in some way, shape, or form. And this is some shit that you're doing every motherfucking day. And instead of you doing it for yourself, you're just doing it for another entity based upon your form of indoctrination or whatever you're into or paying attention to at the moment. So let's break it motherfucking down when we talk about elemental magic and how to create a ghost. Now, elemental magic is when you have to utilize the motherfucking elements. But if you do not know how to utilize the elements, you do not know how to make an archive. You do not know how to make an archon. You do not know how to make your own periodic table, because you may be lost into the manifestations of the periodic table that we all created together. So all of us creating our own mini version. Externally, all that big body of water together, all that mentality together start to take shape and form into a low vibrational, aka a slow moving realm of reality, where we get to see these atoms and these particles and bacteria physically take shape and form. And therefore, as spirits, we all could take these things as an embodiment to experience the realm of reality that we are creating as spirits when we create mentalities and lights and consciousness and chakras in the same space relative to each other. You see what I'm saying? Because your spirit is your space. And if we're all spirits, space within space, and we're all creating lights out of it, mentalities out of it, then this lets you know how astrology or constellations or stars or body of water or however mentalities or consciousness even gets derived, and teamwork to make the dream work. So this gives you a better level of understanding than a scientist or a religious person could give you. You see what I'm saying? Now, when we're talking about using elemental magic, the reason why I'm breaking that down is because this is what creates the periodic table. This is what creates bacteria. This is what creates light spectrums. This is what creates body of waters. You know what I'm saying? When spirits have the ability to tap into the elemental energies. Now, the elemental energies are states. They are states of awarenesses. Now, your spirit is your space, your state of being. So for the most part, it's just you being a being, your space, your circumference. You know what you want in and out of your space, whether you have created a mentality around it or not, a halo around it or not, a light spectrum around it or not, a vehicle or a spaceship or a cherubim around it or not. All of these are just different names for motherfucking lights. But for the most part, your state of being is your spirit. You're shapeless, formless, nothing, no thing. Not nothing as in nothing, no thing as in no thing, no shape and form. So this thing is just a state. It's just a being. Now this being creates a state of awareness. So you just a being, an entity, and then you start to create a deity, a state of awareness. This is a group of lights. Now, that first state of awareness is what we're going to tap into as the fire element in this realm of reality. The best way that we can correlate it based upon our level of understanding and the language that we're utilizing based upon being spirits in human bodies. So for the most part, this is how you correlate what fire is. So fire is not necessarily what you're actually seeing as this, but fire is more correlated to the esoteric realm, 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, purgatory, as passion, motivation, desire, intuition, that intuition well. So it's that before the fire is cooled off in the esoteric realm. Cooled off fire is water. That's what water is, cold fire. So for the most part, and hot water is this basic super hot water to the point that you understand what being hot is what fire is. So for the most part, just let you know it's a state of being. So when you have an imagery, when you have an imagination, when you have an expression about something, that's what fire is. So as a spirit, that's the first shape and form it takes. A lot of times they take snake-like forms to separate themselves because they see the image of themselves. So when a spirit get lost into their desire, that's them getting lost into their light, getting lost into their fire. So when you go back into your religious now you have a better aspect of understanding what spirit you was following now. You see what I'm saying? What kind of state of being it was in, because it started to create a state of awareness, and then you get all the stories after the state of awareness. The light gives you the information how to communicate what kind of state of being that the spirit was in. So if you understand it, if it was in darkness, that lets you know how it got lost into a lot of lights. It got lost into its desire. But this video is not about that. So this is about how utilizing elemental energies, elemental magic, and how to create a ghost. So for the most part, utilizing elemental magic is fire. So having an image or an expression about something. So let's put this into an example. Let's say somebody have done you wrong, right? And for the most part, I don't want you to be so backed and supported by revenge. But let's say that you want to get what's just due. So for the most part, anytime you've been done wrong and you didn't actually add to the situation to be done wrong, you're automatically going to be put in a certain state of being. So you automatically got all the hardware and toolware that you actually need in order to make things play out the way it's going to play out. Remind you, this is something that we're all doing. So don't be looking at this right now like this is for me to let you know that you already doing this, and you might be doing this as a lost spirit because you do not know what you do. So now you can start knowing when to retract yourself and to know what you're actually doing, and to know when you get ready to put blood on your hands, and to know when it's justified. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, as a spirit, you just know what you're doing. Instead of trying to cancel off shit like a shaman or something like that, it doesn't work that way. You're in this existence, so you gotta play it. And if you don't play it right, this is how you get destroyed. Now, for the most part, here's the thing. Like I said, fire, having an imagery or an expression about the circumstance or situation. So say somebody done you wrong, and now you start to feel a certain way about it, right? So you want justice to be done. You're gonna have a certain image, a certain expression. That's the first state of awareness. That's the first light that you create in that space. And in that space, right now, you just can see something. It's just visions. It's probably just turned from yellow to red. So it's just a vision and an expression. It didn't take shape and form yet. It's just an image and an expression. So it's like, you ever had that time when you'd be like, man, I would do this to this person, but you don't even know what you would do. You just said something. That realm. Sometimes you can only see that in this realm of reality when someone make you highly upset, to the point that you start acting real chaotic. But what you see is all red. So sometimes it's like that kind of energy. But that's like the purest chaos energy. But that's another video. But before we dive into that, it's about the motherfucking image and the expression of something first. So that's you kind of putting the imagery or having the imagination about what you just was influenced by. Now, next comes the water. Water is feelings and emotion. So developing a feeling and emotion behind that image or expression. So whatever that image and expression was that make you want to push it out first, hone in on it and start to have a feeling and emotion about it. And a lot of people can't handle that part of the world. See, because we're so spiritually lost, a lot of times a person will get influenced by something, and then they'll let those lights and emotions and feelings take over to the point that they start acting before thinking. And then a lot of times, because they can't deal with that feeling if there was just to hone in on it. For an example, say you just got cheated on, and say you like a killer slightly, right? You can't take just getting cheated on. So for the most part, instead of you sitting somewhere and dealing with those emotions, you expressing every emotion off the back to the point that you end up being in jail. See, you was a weak spirit that couldn't even get to the second part. See what I'm saying? So it's like an orderly system. So keep this in mind. This is dealing with strength right here, spiritual wisdom right here, and having knowledge in the third dimensional realm on what to do with this actual wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Now, and not let the knowledge take over to the point that you're doing it unwise, without wisdom. So once as a spirit you have that image and expression, now take the feeling and emotion, and this what cools that fire off, so you're able to have time to calm down. That image and expression calms down, aka water cooled. I just told y'all, cold water in the esoteric, cold fire in the esoteric realm is water. Well, let me say cooled off fire is water. So for the most part, you're able to soak into that world. Now you're swimming in that world. You're seeing what was persuading you, what's making you might do your actions and making you do other things, and you're seeing what you can control and see how that water can outweigh you. So for the most part, this is you constructing a shape and form out of the first shapeless and formless dance of the fire. Now you're creating a shape and form around it, aka a flow of it. It's turning into a wheel now. So now you can see what direction this emotional influence is directing you in now, right? Now you start to now utilize the air element. Now the air element is correlated into the thought patterns and the mentality of this, because you're creating a vehicle. That's what you're actually doing right now. This is how we create spaceships that I always talk about. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting into detail right now. So once you start to create the left brain parts of it, which is the air and earth that comes after the fire and water, now you start with the air after the water. Now this is having the thought patterns or the mentality of it. So the fire was the image and expression, like damn. The water was you honing in on that and giving it a direction now. See what I'm saying? If it's strategic or chaotic, right? And now the air is giving it a thought pattern or a mentality. So now you're giving it structure. Now you're giving it a how. It's already a what now. Like, what is this? It was an image. It was a feeling. Now you're with the air, you're putting how it's going to be played out. So now you're giving it a thought. You're honing in on that image, aka fire, that feeling, aka water, and now you're giving it you're giving it a scenario now. You're thinking of scenarios, how it's gonna play out, how would it play out, the best way it would play out. This is you giving it the air, the construction. This is you giving it the mentality. This is you giving it a brain. You see what I'm saying? So when it takes a life of its own, and other spirits that's not in this realm of reality with bodies yet resonate with that state of being, and it start to charge up and start to play out and manifest, you will start to know how it's actually manifesting. Now, once you give it a thought pattern and give it a mentality, you give it a structure, you give it like a sense of how that role, how that fire and water will actually play out. That makes sense in the third dimension, because an image and expression you catch, sometimes it don't even make sense. It's some shit that you probably can't do in reality. So sometimes think about it from a comedic level, or a level when someone just pisses you off. The first thought or expression you get, and I don't even want to say thought, but the first image and expression you get don't even make sense in this realm of reality. It takes for somebody to tell you to calm down, to make you feel like whatever you was getting ready to start diving into the water, air, earth of it wouldn't even have made sense in reality. And it's something you're not even capable of, even if it was just something you felt like you could do. You know what I'm saying? You probably felt like you could lift a damn car. You know what I'm saying? It's just an expression. Then it turned into a feeling. Then the thought is the construction around it. You're giving it a role and how it's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? You're giving it legs to walk on. Now, the earth. Now we're jumping into the earth element. Now the earth element is how big or how small, aka the percentage level, aka how much time or energy you're going to put into it. So for the most part, like I said, you had the image and expression. You had the feeling and emotion for it to calm down and for you to soak and give it a direction and a will. Now you got the air. Now you're giving it a characteristics and giving it how it will actually play out in the third dimension, and how it will actually make sense and how it will actually analyze. Now it's an actual full body. Now the body needs push, energy. That's the earth. So that's how big or how small, aka how much percentage level, aka how much time and energy you're putting into these three concepts previously, which is the fire, water, and the air. How much time and percentage level you're giving to this image and its expression. How much time and percentage level you're soaking in that emotion and feeling, and sitting there and living in how that make you feel. How much time and percentage level you're putting into different roles of how this will actually play out, and how it can play out in actual reality before anybody actually jump into that third dimensional wise. You actually can see fourth dimensional wise how it actually can make sense in third dimensional wise. You're actually planning certain shit, seeing how shit, you know what I'm saying, and all kind of analyzing and things of that nature before you even lift a finger. Now, the amount of energy and percentage level you're putting into that, and whatever gemstones you have, and whatever physical material means you have around you at the moment, whatever colors you're wearing, and the actual time and energy you're putting into it. That's all of that is the earth part. That's the earth part. Then once you do that, boom, you have created a ghost, and you have created a ghost using elemental magic. Now, here's how that ghost going to actually play out and start to manifest and start to take on certain traits. Now, here's the thing, right? Once you create this ghost, right? This ghost is really nothing more, nothing less but an actual spaceship that you can jump in as a spirit from time to time and give it more percentage level, give it more earth energy, to give it more life force, aka so it can start to manifest and start into extreme natures. Now, here's the thing, right? Because teamwork makes the dream work. So since all of us are spirits and we're already doing this type of shit, it takes the other party in order for it to manifest in their life. So if you are a little bit more spiritually, like you might be into voodoo, you might be into all kind of shit and shit like that. Like, for an example, you know what I'm saying? My mom is Catawba, so we Catawba and things of that nature. So that's Sioux. So Siouan language and things of that nature, for the most part, is already tapping into that kind of language, where it's kind of like, it's a spellistic kind of, I don't even say religion, but it's a spellistic religion. It's not a religion that's backed and supported by, it's not a spiritual system that's backed and supported by religious points of views. It's a spiritual system that's backed and supported by spellistic and ritual points of views. That's why you get the TPs, and you get the fire in the middle, and you get the dancing, and you get the humming, and you get the swinging around, and you get the smoking. And you get the feathers, and you get the... Look, I don't want to dive too far into that, because I'm going to make a video about these things of that nature. Even when you get to how I dress. You know what I'm saying? Hairstyles. Stars. Bodies of waters. Which is mini. That's a mini. You know what I'm saying? A body of water is a mini. But before we even get into that, I want to get y'all lost into that. But I'm just giving you the understanding of different spiritual systems see the world through different lenses. That's why when y'all hear me speak about astrology, it's not normal. When y'all hear me speak about religion, it's not normal. When y'all hear me, but to me, it's not to say that it's not normal. It's just from my spiritual background. I don't see it the same way y'all see it. So I can't talk about it the same way y'all talk about it, just by nature. You see what I'm saying? So it's not something I'm sitting back coming up with. It's just that it is what it is, based upon whatever. Even when you start to talk about Haitians, when you start to talk about motherfucking Creoles, when you start to talk about, these are powerful spirit lineages. You know what I'm saying? Blackfoots, Cherokees, Catawbas. That's what these are powerful spirits. Even when you want to talk about, I hate to say African, because it's not African. It's a group of spirits that was in Africa that y'all need to find. You can't say you got the African spirit. That's like saying you got the American spirit. Somebody created that as a geographical party system, like a downtown or something like that everybody could come through and see all cultures. But you need to find your specific spirit, and it ain't called the African spirit that's in your black looking body. You see what I'm saying? It's something else. And since y'all don't know the name and y'all can't find y'all lineage, that's why y'all don't know y'all spiritual system. That's why y'all don't know what to cling to. You see what I'm saying? And then y'all let somebody else come up with their African shit, and then make them come up with what y'all think is y'all spiritual system. So y'all going to search for some false shit, and y'all think we need to go back to Africa. When you go to Africa, it's a group of all spirits. It's like going downtown or going to the circus or going to the fair. That's what Africa was. See what I'm saying? Where multitudes of different spiritual systems was coming together, and as a together to create, like, it's like Times Square. Let's all create a clock together. Let's all, from all our different systems and shit like that. That's why it's so different and chaotic and things of that nature. That's what you need to understand. That's why and y'all still cling on to that same way of thinking. So we carry that to today. Y'all got the same way of thinking to create denominations, different point of views of certain one kind of systems. Because y'all all but that's another video. Once you create this ghost, right? Now, here's the thing. It takes two. So based upon your influence on the actual person that you're directing this energy to, matters the most, because we're all doing the same thing as spirits. So if you're a little bit more spiritually inclined, like that's why I brought up the Haitians, Creoles, Catawbas, Blackfoots, Cherokees, you know what I'm saying? You got all kind of motherfucking but before, because my mind is starting to go off to want to name all them, because I hate leaving shit out, but I got to keep reminding myself this video ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got, it's so many power. Even when you get to the motherfucking Jewish spirit, that shit powerful. Jews, that's powerful. That spirit is powerful. You see what I'm saying? But that before I start talking about spiritual entities and things of that nature, because your spiritual bloodline has nothing to do with your family bloodline. This is the reason why you got a whole different blood type than your family member. But you can still say y'all share the same blood. I got a video on bloodline and understanding that it's just people it's just spirits you're sharing experiences with. So y'all got similar material that y'all coming through the experiences realm of reality with. So it can play out as your family, all the way to just a person that's just an associate, all the way to a stranger that just share your geographical location. But all that come from the same material remnants. It's just more materialified if it's your family. But none of that has anything to do with your spiritual family. But I got videos on that too. But like I was saying, when we're talking about, now here's the thing. Every time the person you are attacking steps into your energy, aka start to have the memory of you. The memory is something that they left behind, but it's a shape and form that both of y'all have created. So based upon how big that body of water, that influence, that memory is, that's how much impact you're going to be able to utilize whatever energy you're directing towards this person if you're into creating ghosts. Because a lot of people create ghosts, and a lot of times they don't do nothing but create blood on their own hands, and the ghost that they have created turns into a mermaid that just haunt them for the rest of their life. And you end up being haunted by your own ghost, by your own doings, your own wrongdoings, and start to manifest all these people, places, and things that remind you of all the fucked up shit that you've been doing, even when you're trying to change your life. That's another fucking video. But for the most part, like I'm saying, when we're getting into the concept of you directing your energy, once you did the fire, water, air, and earth elemental magic and have created this ghost, and then now you're putting energy into it, you constantly every day putting more and more earth element into it, it takes the other person's spiritual ability to do this too. Now, since you are into this shit, this means that you are a more powerful spirit than this spirit, because this spirit probably lost into the world, lost into their daily human affairs and shit like that. So off the bat, the energy that you have developed and that y'all share together is always going to be in their face without them being spiritually inclined to know how to rise above certain scenarios. So you probably got them wrapped around your finger already if they're not spiritually inclined enough. Now, here's the thing, right? Every time this person that you are attacking steps into your energy or have the memory of you, it opens up possibilities for what you have created to manifest in that person's life. So the more that they pay attention to it, the worse. So the more they pay attention to, like, man, am I tripping? And then the more that you on their mind and shit, and then the more energy level that they spirit give to, remind you, if they're not spiritually inclined, remind all of our spirits doing the same thing, but spirits do not know what they do. So all of our spirits be indoctrinated, utilizing our faith, belief, and creativity / imagination for other spirits. We give all our power away for other spirits. So this spirit is giving their power away to human affairs every day, the shit that they got to do every day. They're not giving no time for their own spiritual nature. So when things start to happen, it can only play out as them having you on their mind, the person that authored this energy, then them starting to think certain things like, hold on, am I tripping? Then look, spirits do not know what they do. So they're utilizing their 3 spiritual strengths to just add on to the energy. The more they pay attention to it, it makes it worse. They're going to start calling people, talking shit about you. They're going to start being to themselves, thinking about you. They're going to start, and all the way to everything that you're creating, going to start actually manifesting in their motherfucking life. You see what I'm saying? Because they wasn't spiritually inclined to know that they're not doing nothing but adding to the energy the more that they pay attention to the thought of you. You see what I'm saying? And if you're spiritually strong enough, super strong, you'll almost create that. You will give them no choice to create the thought in their head to have them start saying, this person must be thinking about me. This person must be talking shit about me right now. Or this person must be fucking with me right now. You will make them actually start thinking that on their own, depending on how strong you is. Like, this shit is deep. But I repeat, we're all doing this to a small degree because spirits don't know that this is what they're doing, but they do it from a small degree based upon everybody have been hurt. Everybody have been taken advantage of. Everybody lost a job and had the manager look into their face and say, I'm going to have to let you go. Everybody have been in a circumstance where they had to quit. Everybody have been in a circumstance where bridges have been burnt between relationships that you wish had never have been burnt. All of these put you in states of being for you to naturally create a ghost. And you not know that's what you're doing. But since you're lost into the world, you do this on a small percentage level. So you end up always having blood in your hands, and and then the other person always end up manifesting the shit that you're creating in their life, and then we all doing this to each other, to the point that it's a big old tit for tat game going on right now in life, period. But people do not know that's what they're doing, so everybody is destroying each other. This is why you got people getting killed. This is why you got fucking single home families. This is why you have fucking turbulent ass children growing up and killing every fucking body or destroying the family. This is why you have life the way it is right now. Because what I just explained. And throughout the duration of the video, it sounds like some shit you shouldn't be doing, right? And this is some shit that we all have no choice to do because we're all spirits with those three powers. Imagination / creativity, faith, and belief. And as spirits, this is how we create all worlds. And when we do that for eons, we end up creating a realm of reality that we can look at as an existence of what we're into as a spirit right now, as a spirit into this body. So we're all trapped in our own hell, our own fire, waters, airs, earths. See what I'm saying? But now that you know what's actually going on, spirits, use your monkey ass power wisely. Because for the most part, the moment you don't, you got blood on your hands. And having blood on your hands ain't fun. Because you can't go nowhere but back here to find another faucet to wash your hands again. And goddammit, you're going to get tired of washing your hands because you know what your hands look like once you leave it underwater too long. It gets all wrinkly and shit like that to the point that you can't even utilize it. And it's so sensitive, you can't even utilize it to the magnitude you want to utilize it. AKA, motherfucker, stop coming back to wash your goddamn hands and keep your motherfucking hands clean. AKA, keep your motherfucking hands out the cookie jar. Period. And you won't be manifesting too many circumstances and situations to put you into a space that you got to create a ghost in the first place. Because you'll be around your spirit group. You'll be around your soul group. And whatever disagreeable moments y'all come to conclusions with, y'all able to come to a space where it's not a disagreeable soul tie and a knot. It's a space of you guys are just sharing spaces, and y'all, since y'all the same soul group, then this is what y'all do as a relationship. It's not, or relationships. It's not a circumstance that it's a soul tie and it's a need of detachment. When you with your soul group, these are the things you guys handle together. It don't come to no magnitude of I need to separate. See what I'm saying? It comes to a magnitude of we are elevating each other. And that's how it be for this lifetime. See what I'm saying? But that's another video. But Flight Boss, bitch, use your motherfucking powers wisely. Flight Boss, bitch.